Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I'm the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'Em Out book and training series and lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC. Welcome, all my dear friends worldwide, throughout the United States and Canada and all throughout the United States. Welcome. It's just good to check in with you. Have spent a ton of time this year helping organizations uh, build or protect their culture. For those of you who might be seeing me for the first time, culture by definition is what we believe, how we behave. There's three pillars of culture: how we treat each other, how we treat the kids, how we let the kids treat us. Kids have to be trained in culture. The culture is not solely on the adults. Kids have to be trained to how to behave properly. Where a lot of organizations are really struggling, there is a horrible assumption that the kids know how to behave. And we're not even talking about the negative behavior, right? So we're talking about just functionally know how to be a student. So we assume that our employees automatically know how to be professional just because they went to a university and have a degree. Total foolishness. Some of the biggest issues going on today is about the lack of professionalism, about the lack of workplace decorum, things that you should be talking about in the workplace and should not. Uh, Attendance, punctuality, dress. These are culture issues. How you engage with students. Those are culture issues. To assume that we know how to do this just absolutely doesn't make sense. Just to assume because we put a person in the principal's chair, they actually know how to manage a building and how to lead adults. That's foolishness. That's just not how this works. You have to teach and develop culture. That requires guidance. Some people are very good at it because they understand culture starts first. I can recall one organization we worked with here recently, well, like for the last, I want to say about 4 or 5 years. And one half of the organization is the big Dr. Jackson guy, right? The culture guy. Like, yeah, we need Dr. help us with this. Then you got the other half of the house pushing academics. Now, if anybody knows anything about me, I'm a professional academician. I'm sold out to academia. It's how I made my name in academics, people, right? Teaching and learning is what I do. School is vitally important to American culture by my eyes standard. And so what people foolishly believe is that academics can operate at its highest level without a solid foundation of culture in place. You're just fooling yourself. So what's going to happen is you're going to work harder than you need to. What you want to do is, particularly as a new soup, so right now you're talking about 70% of all soups over the next 2 to 3 years will be new. They'll be their first soup job or their second. So the first thing we have to always check is the temperature and tone of the culture. What is going on here culture-wise? This is why I do a lot of times with the people I work with, and I just start mandating it. I just go around. I want to go around all the buildings. I want to take them in myself. A lot of times I want to go by myself and I want to go unannounced. I don't like dog and pony shows. I don't like people fake acting and stuff. It is what it is. One school says, man, every time you come, the kids always act horrible and start fighting. I said, great. Now I'm in touch with what's really going on. It was like, it's been so long. They normally don't do this. Well, if they did it on the day I came there, that means they showing out for company. No, this stuff is going on. Here's the key. Are we aware of it? Do we recognize it? Do we see that these things are progressively headed in the wrong direction? And so the thing is, if you want to build a winning organization, principal superintendent, you want to build a winning organization, you got to be sold out to culture. Culture. What do we believe? How do we behave? How are the adults going to treat each other? How is central office going to treat the principals? How are principals going to treat the teachers? How are the teachers going to treat the kids? How are we going to treat our families? And then we have to teach them how to work with us. Remember, and that partnership is something we have to work on. To assume that everybody knows what to do and how to behave, it's just foolishness. So one thing that I will give us in building culture is the standard. What exactly is our standard way of doing things here? When you work in this organization, when you go to school here, What is our priority? That can't be theory. It has to be clear. We can't assume people know. When you have to set a standard of expectation. This is what we do here. And what I have found a lot, and this is why I've been talking to kids so much this school year more than any time in my career, is that kids don't have a game plan. These kids don't know what they want to do with their life. Ask them. Get off this video. Go ask them. Hey, what y'all gonna be doing with y'all life at 21 to take care of yourself and make money? Listen to these answers. They're egregious. And I'm talking about you could go to a high achieving school. I have A schools, and you'll go talk to those kids. And I'm telling you, when you start breaking it down and listening to their plan, it's scary. The rules in this life has changed post-COVID. Kids need guidance. Families need guidance. We're assuming people know. So the culture you want to build is one where we're on the same page. We know why our school exists. What are we doing here? If this is an elementary school, obviously we're building good habits, character, conduct, good skills. Character, conduct. You're going to learn how to behave yourself here. You're going to learn how to read, write, do math, follow instructions. You're going to build your skills here so you're prepared for junior high. Junior high is high school preparation. So we're training you how to be a student. We're not assuming you know how to be a student, right? We are training you in turning your work in on time, wear your supplies, pay attention, concentrate, right? Conduct in the hallways, conduct at lunch, the way you present yourself. These are the disciplines that build healthy culture. When you have a staff, so say you're a staff like the place I was this morning, I mean, 90% of their staff is under 3 years in teaching. So they got a pretty young staff for the most part. So you got to, if you want those folks to stay, you want those teachers, when you have a staff, you have to build your team. That happens with training, not in services. Training, I have to build your capacity. That's what happens with organizations that have phenomenal culture. I work with some places that have a phenomenal culture, and they put the work into it. It's not automatic. It's not automatic. A very strong culture starts with what? The standard, the expectation. This is what we do here. When you work with Best Man Company, what you're always going to get is the standard. What I always do is invoke the awareness of the details that are the barriers that prevent us from excelling at teaching and learning. Trauma, the neighborhood, the circumstances, that could be a barrier. It is not going to stop us, but we'd have to identify it and know how to manage it. Okay. Poverty, the poverty mentality hates education and it hates order. That's a barrier, and it will attempt to steal teaching and learning from us. So we have to know how to approach it properly. Fighting, conflicts in the street, that mess that streets try to come into your school. No, that's a barrier. And one thing that you have to do as a strong culture is people have to know the school ground is safe ground, man. There's no fighting up here, man. Hey, listen, I do understand we in a gang neighborhood. I do understand we in the mean, tough streets of Detroit. We're in the mean, tough streets of the Midwest, Chicago, down south, Baton Rouge. We in the serious parts of LA, Compton, real places. But culture can produce the respect from the students and community. I've seen it done. I've done it myself to where, listen, hey, this is my school. This is what we do here. This foolishness doesn't work here. Now, I do not control your neighborhood and outside. I don't want those problems and everything, but I have to have order in between my campus. That's work, folks. That's training. That's coaching. That's getting support. That's getting a blueprint and guidance. This is why I wrote all of these books. I'm almost up to 80 right now, giving people blueprints on how to build strong culture, how to manage behavior. No magic pill to managing behavior. It requires structure, consistency, and a comfort with confrontation. Confrontation is not negative. It's mandatory if you love somebody. Conflict is negative. Confrontation is just a healthy part of any relationship with somebody you care about. This is training. It's what I've made my life doing. Training, coaching, building people up, giving them the guidance. You're one of those organizations, you need that kind of help at this critical moment. We're all going to need it. We're headed down the home stretch. We're about to go into the summer, 8 weeks off. The kids are not going to get better over the summer. Kids don't get better unsupervised. Okay. So it's like a lot of foolish ideas that we have, and we are forsaking the disciplines that build strong organizations, that build strong schools. It's training, it's coaching those teachers, supporting those teachers with the right type of coaching, supporting those principals with the right type of coaching. We're assuming that a principal is a leader. That's not true. Most principals are managers. And that means they were good at teaching and learning. Then they got to be an AP. That means they did the principal's work, for the lack of a better term. They basically bulldog principals that become, APs become principals. So that means they've been in management their whole time, but now they get in the principal seat, and we're automatically expecting the leader gene to kick in. Folks, that's just not how this works. I've been around 27 years. I've been independent, meaning working on my own as an independent practitioner for 18 years. I've seen some of the best principals in the country, blue ribbon principals. Probably over 20 plus principals of the year have come out of my camps. Dozens of principals of the year. First, superintendents of the year first. Probably over 20 of those, and probably dozens of principals of the year. Hundreds of teachers of the years have come from our schools. We understand some fundamental basis. Right now, since COVID, what's been under attack is our habits. And if you want to make sure that your organization is consistently going in the right direction, the teachers are getting the guidance they need to deal with the trauma, with the poverty, with the emotions and the lack of the apathy, and kids not caring about school and not being focused on school. They have to be trained. You can't hope they're going to get it, and you can't hope that they're just a super person and they're just like motivated and they just don't get discouraged. Burnout is real, but discouragement is worse, because that's when you don't see a change. And this year's been tough. And I'm telling you, if you haven't started your process and you're not working on this stuff, it will not get better. So I'm Dr. Jackson here. I'm always attempting to give some basic steps, basic steps and blueprints on building your culture. Not responding, but proaction. Proaction will always beat a reaction. And this requires training and coaching. It's what I'm here to do. If I could help you, would love to. Contact us today. Email, reach out. Always share these videos with your friends and colleagues. When things click, discuss these matters, and then always ask for more. Give us more. Give us steps to do. If you said, hey, action step from today, the first thing is identify what your expectation is. What is the standard in your classroom, on your campus? What is the standard? On my campus, I always expect everybody to come to work. Kids come to school. If the teachers got to come here, you got to come here. Be ready to work. Be ready to work. Conduct yourself like a scholar, and I'm going to show you how scholars conduct themselves. Scholars raise their hand. They don't blurt out. Say, I teach that. And that's what we have to do. If we don't do it, we can't expect kids to come up to the standard. If we don't coach our teachers and train our teachers in some of these fundamental disciplines, you can't expect them to know what to do and to just automatically kick in. It doesn't work that way. So this is what we're here to do. Train this generation of students, teachers, and admin leaders, so they have the skills necessary to be successful in today's education environment. I'm Dr. Jackson. I'll see you in class.